Okay, let's jump right in. You see it everywhere, right? Companies are spreading their wings across multiple clouds: AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, you name it. On paper, it's a brilliant strategy. It promises the best of everything. But in reality, it can create a level of complexity that is just staggering to manage.
It's a great question, and one that a lot of folks in tech are asking themselves. You move to the cloud for speed, for agility, but before you know it, you're drowning in a sea of different dashboards and services that just don't speak the same language. That promised land of efficiency, it starts to feel more like a chaotic, uncharted jungle.
And this really gets to the heart of it. The promise of multi-cloud is incredible. You can pick the absolute best service for any job. You avoid getting locked into one vendor, and you can innovate so much faster. But the reality for so many is just a tangled web of complexity, with spiraling costs and huge operational blind spots. It's a classic case of a great idea creating some really gnarly unforeseen problems. So let's actually walk through this maze for a bit and really pinpoint where things get so tricky. I love this analogy. It's just perfect. Every cloud provider has its own language, its own console, its own way of doing things. It really is like trying to lead an orchestra where everyone's playing from a different songbook. Trying to make all of that sound like music instead of noise, it's nearly impossible without one single unified view. All of that chaos leads to some very specific, very painful problems. Your CMDB, the thing that's supposed to be your single source of truth for everything, it's always out of date. Your teams are spending hours, maybe even days, drawing these manual diagrams that are basically useless the second they're finished. And all this creates massive operational blind spots, hiding idle resources, and just bleeding money. Which brings us to the first real step in fixing this whole mess. You just can't manage what you can't see. Total visibility isn't some nice-to-have feature. It is the absolute foundation of a well-run cloud. Seriously, think about it for a second. Cloud resources are spun up and torn down every single minute. How could any static document or manually drawn diagram ever hope to keep up? The old ways of mapping out your infrastructure, they just don't work in a world this dynamic. Well, the answer is a map that's alive, a living, breathing map. What you really need is instant visibility, a single pane of glass that automatically finds and shows you everything you have everywhere it is. No more guessing games, just a complete, accurate, real-time picture of your entire multi-cloud world. And this is where it gets really interesting. Just seeing all your stuff isn't quite enough. The real magic happens when you understand how it's all connected. Just imagine how this changes the game. You click on any single thing, a VM, a database, a load balancer, and bam, you instantly see its entire dependency chain. Troubleshooting a weird issue goes from hours of panicked searching to just a few minutes of focused work. Audits? They become a breeze. Okay, so once you can see everything clearly, what's the next logical step? Well, you start streamlining your operations. This is where you go from just seeing the problem to actually automating the solution. This is a classic headache for any operations team. You've built the perfect production environment in one region. Awesome. But now you need a disaster recovery site in another, or you want to expand into Europe. Does your team really have to rebuild the whole thing click by click? No, absolutely not. With a clear map, you can literally just select the infrastructure you want to copy and generate a ready-to-use Terraform script in seconds. Then you can easily tweak that script to deploy the exact same architecture in a new region, a new account, or heck, even a different cloud provider. And that is the whole point. You do all of this without rebuilding your architecture from scratch. This isn't just about saving time, though it saves a ton. It's about getting rid of human error and making sure everything is consistent everywhere. All right, so we've got visibility, we've got operational efficiency. Now for the third pillar, and let's be honest, for many, this is the most critical one: getting a firm grip on your cloud finances. Anyone who's tried to decipher a native cloud bill knows the pain. It can take days, sometimes weeks, of wrestling with spreadsheets just to figure out what's going on. The goal here is to shrink that timeline from days down to minutes. To do that, you have to be able to slice and dice your cost data from any angle you can think of. You need to instantly see where the money is going. Is it a particular service that's out of control? A specific team's project? Being able to drill down by business unit or even your own custom tags is absolutely essential. Now this visual gets right to the heart of where so much money gets wasted. It's the gap. The gap between what you're paying for, your provisioned resources, and what you're actually using.
That gap is where your budget just vanishes into thin air. Finding those idle or completely unused resources is step one. And the impact can be huge. We're talking about expensive reserved instances or savings plans that someone bought for a project that ended 6 months ago, but you're still paying for them. By spotting these mismatches, companies can reclaim thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars in wasted spend every single month. So, what happens when you bring all three of these pillars together? Visibility, operational efficiency, and financial mastery. Well, you finally move from chaos to clarity. And this journey isn't just about feeling better, it delivers real, tangible results. You get total control over your complex world, you find real, measurable savings by cutting out waste, and maybe most importantly, everyone from the tech leaders to the finance team gets that feeling of confidence that their cloud strategy is finally delivering on what it promised. Ultimately, it just completely transforms your relationship with the cloud. It stops being this source of frustration and confusion, and it becomes what it was always supposed to be, a powerful, incredible engine for innovation. And really, that's the question I want to leave you with. Take a good, hard look at your own environment. Do you have that single, real-time map? Do you know exactly where your money is going right now? Is your organization truly, honestly, in control?